Welcome everyone to another video, and today we are looking at this world currently. As you can see, Ireland is still unexplored. Nobody really wants to go over here for some reason. Poor Ireland. No one wants you. No one wants you. Why? 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 Why no one wants you? And we also saw that last time that a lot of things happened, like this area being taken, Bangkok making their entrance into Malaysia, and these areas beginning to make their appearance as world nations. And let's get straight into it with a expansion. As you can see, good old friend, I don't know, Hong Kong maybe. I don't know where Hong Kong is. My general ideas are over somewhere like here, but well, yeah. Kind of can't do anything about it now. Okay, now we have Hong Kong, and we're also going to have that to see how this nation just gives up its very rare privilege to expand into more areas, as it makes very lucrative deals for very bad gains. And those gains are that it cannot advance anymore into the northern parts of this island. Also, for our good old guys, they make their entrance into the world stage finally. They kinda just wanted to do this for a while. Definitely not doing this out of spite or anything. Against someone who cut them off from taking these known areas, because they really wanted these known areas so they can like invade these guys later. But now they're a lot bigger. And also, Kazakhstan. Yeah, they're making their move. Today they're going to massively expand south. For those who like Kazakhstan, I'm going to tell you this: they are quickly rising to be one of the top powers of Asia. Not the world, but Asia. They have quite a big military. They can hold their ground pretty much. They can hold a lot of ground if they really wanted to, and that's what they're doing right now. And we also see this guy wanting also some land, so they're going to go over here and declare that they want all of these lands. They just won't very much touch the Kazakhs right now because they don't want to touch them. That's kind of weird. Why would you want that? For those who are like, yo, hey yo, this is sus. Just telling you, these two don't want to really touch each other. And in a desperate move, we see the green team making their final expeditions into the here before it's agreed by these two to cut them off. Like this. Yeah, it's kinda agreed. We also see that for the exchange of these lands to this guy, Kazakhstan will only take these lands. Anyone who doesn't like this little outcropping, well, just know that that will be fixed at some point. I'm just gonna tell you that. And now we have a very similar looking guy. Yeah, I'm basically doing this all from inspiration from Addis Pro. I like heavily inspired. But don't worry, somebody will fall. Definitely. But yeah, speaking of the red team, we see them do something else, and that's a very stupid move. And that's, as you can see, invading. Oh my god, invading. And they don't have a reason. They just don't have a reason. I don't know why they stuttered. The first army and the second army will push and take two major cities at these two areas and cut off a main army group over here. Yes, army groups do now exist. They're like a combination of 2 to 3 armies, at sometimes even 5, if the nation can support 5 armies. And as you can see, they lay siege and take this major city. And it's around the year 400 now, so yeah, everyone's kinda getting into the Viking age just now. You also see that a lot of more gains happen, and they also take this major city, with them reaching this one before being stopped by oncoming forces from from Oman. Yes, Oman loses a lot of forces over here, but they manage to hold on. In the central front, they kinda just stall, as there are 8 armies here that kinda move in synchronization. 4 move in the south and 4 move in the north. There's also a 9th that's holding the front line over here, trying to skirmish as much as possible and hold back the enemy front line, and eventually it works with a large encirclement. And with the 8 armies crushing down on the encircled forces, it's seen as a major strategic advantage, as this was only like 3 armies over here, 2 armies over here, and 1 army over here, and 2 armies over here, 2 armies over here, and another 4 over here, making this nation quite heavily damaged, and they cannot hold their own now. So bye bye goes this coast, and bye bye goes a lot of Donland. Like, look how much they goddamn eat. I was about to say the bad word. I'm not gonna say it. My Latis bro just say stuff like that, but I'm not gonna be like him. Speaking of being like him, we also see that this little thing over here starts to grow a bit. Yeah, it's an attempt to bring back this guy. Just kidding, it's just gonna be another part of this. I'm not gonna make them. And we also see that Oman will lose this major city before having its capital targeted and bombarded with a lot of artillery, as we see, ballistas being made. And we also see that these areas get taken, and the little tip over here, in a desperate attempt to survive, will become territory of, this guy. And now that they control the state of Hormuz, just joking, the Reds actually took it. Yeah, the Reds are just quite greedy, and they don't really like outsiders. And we also see these 2 major cities also falling before the third one gets sieged, and eventually the capital gets seized. We also see the capital and the major city fall before a full and utter annexation. Oh my god, that's like that's a lot of land for one empire. Yeah. Definitely doesn't have sights on this guy. Like, definitely not. And let's look at the province maps. Oh god, that's a lot of expansion. Yeah. You can also see what's left of Qatar. Not gonna be here for a while again. But hey, what can you say? Also see Morocco making their moves. I haven't updated the province map. I will update it soon. And this is a province. We see that Morocco will finally stop its expansions right around here. Why? Because they just don't really want to lose these lands to anything else. Also, we see the Dutch team kinda make an attempt to explore more over here. They managed to send out more naval forces to explore more of the coasts of Ireland, and eventually they find out that it's just an island. How did they find this out? Well, 2 forces, one English and one Dutch force, met up around, here, and then they were like, hey, who are you? And then it was kind of a back and forth on who it was, and it's kind of like the Spider-Man meme. And yeah, what happened was that the discovery of this being an island was made, and everyone was like, yo, it's quite big, we can launch things out, and we can also control the seas over here. Why not just explore it? And explore it, a lot of people did. We see that areas begin to be explored around the coast, and areas with more rocky terrain get slowly explored, while more less rocky terrain gets explored faster. Also, this lake over here, yeah, explored quite fast. They just knew it was there. The English will begin their first move of colonization, and that is to send out forces to take these lands. And as you can see, this closest nation over here is doing a lot of, well, taking over our land. Also, this pink team, yeah, Iron Man, now theirs. No one else's, just theirs. These areas, yep, again, theirs. They kinda explore more of the inland areas, they just want to do that, kinda in their blood. And as you can see, they have two Netherrack slaves that they kinda just bought. And for those ex-slaves, they actually gain a bit of land in the north of Ireland. We also see the southern bits being explored, and Cornwall, aka what's left of England, will make their attempt at colonizing this part, and Wales will take the rest. And as you can see, the Dutch really wanted to come over here, but they were preoccupied with something else. Yeah, raids. The Viking clans over here, there are two Viking clans. They are going to, first one is going to make a small base like over here. So I gotta, yeah, that is their small base. And the second one, already having a lot of land, they kind of just do what they want. And we see that both of these nations, having done a lot of bad, will come over here, and the first one to set up is the orange one, who will explore and colonize the red team, who was about to land here, but with all the coast being taken, they can't really do anything. So yeah. We also see the rest of Ireland, interior being explored, and the coming up of Ireland. We see that Ireland's main areas are going to be developed between the you know who's and, well, yeah. We're also going to see that the English will trade all of this, and finally it's the Welsh that get over here, and then it's kind of a bicker about who gets these lands. Eventually it's decided that only, since this guy is cut off, this guy won't get anything, so yeah. But how about this? We cut this in free, you guys take these areas, and we did this, and that's how they kinda, yeah. I know, bad borders, but deal with it, it's just how it works, and yeah. Don't ask. They just really want that. Also, quick thing to note here: this guy is seeking to recover France, because they kind of just see themselves as French, like entirely French. So we also see them doing something weird, and that's the invasion of the red team, the French red team, and the French red team is going to not respond at first, thinking it's a false invasion. But when everyone tells, from every noble from here gets like booted out of the countryside, and comes back to the capital, says like, "Oh, we were booted out of our lands." It's kind of chaos in the red team capital, to the point they can't do anything about the massive amount of land they have lost. Eventually, the three armies are sent out, well levied and sent out, and they meet them at a battle of, well, Newridge. And the Battle of Newridge will be the first decisive battle of the war, seeing that the French will win these guys, of course, and they will push far into the back lines and wreak havoc on the supply lines, like they wreak havoc. And as you can see, they get cut off eventually, but they still have enough land to support themselves, so it's kind of okay. But as soon as the forces from over here start to sandwich them back in, it's kind of almost over, until they like make this hole and kind of all of them escape, except for a few thousand. Yeah. Since they did that, it was kind of good for them, and they managed to regain their composure and lead a successful counter-assault. Counter-assault by there means, well, talk means counter-offensive. And their counter-offensive beat back the new Nice nation's forces all the way to their borders, if not farther, and almost even took a bit of land from the Nice guys. But the Nice guys managed to retaliate in a decisive battle in the south that saw them taking these areas. The battle will be forgotten from history as it's not seen as quite decisive yet, and people from this world will debate it for a few thousand years, if not more. But we'll see that somebody else joins this war, and that is this Breton country. Yeah, it's actually just a rebellion. Yeah, it's a rebellion funded by the Bretons and the Dutch. And the French didn't see this coming, as they thought that their nation was entirely stable. As Joker knew it wasn't. It was kinda hell living here, so people just want their independence. And as you can see, this has caused quite uproar. It's bringing back a certain memory, and yeah, it's not quite good. It's kind of bad. Yeah, they lose an army, and then the capital is threatened. And then they managed to make a successful counterattack in the south. And then there's another decisive battle in the center of this nation that sees some very, very, very important people take place, as it's kind of between two kings. Yeah, it was around the time that the rebellion started to form quite well, and the front over here was starting to collapse. The Battle of New Canshire, yeah, Canshire, as I'm gonna say it. This area is now called Canshire. Yeah, this is called Canshire. Canshire, yeah. And the Battle of New Canshire will decide if this whole province and a few southern provinces and eastern provinces towards the east of the capital will fall. And this leads to a full-on nice victory. And rebel forces will start to also try and gain more land. They will not gain anything. And we also see that the forces in these areas will start to push in, and they will take areas around the capital, and they will lay siege to the capital. Seeing this, the rebels will also begin their own counter siege of the capital. That is not against the Nice nation, it's just against the government kind of thing. And we also see that the Nice is kind of lose this. And eventually it decided by these guys to invade. So, yeah. These guys immediately take this. And it's immediately annexed without a doubt. And we see that the French country loses its independence to this guy who manages to break in first and win. And then it's against the rebels who kind of surrender with little fighting ensuing. And as you can see, a lot of land is being taken. And to look on the province map, I think that I'm going to give you some of you guys bad dreams, as this is just horrifying for whoever wants to see this nation not get fully annexed. Also, this whole province is taken by this guy. They kinda just ordered it. Definitely not because it would look bad or anything. Yeah. But we see that the Nice country will fully take over what's left of Red France, and we also see that the Red France capital will be no more. Their only major cities over here on the coast have been taken by two new powers, and this has caused them to lose their own, well, minds, as you can say. As many of them will resort to kinda robbing people. Kinda. Emphasis on kinda. Okay, maybe not. But what we do see is that I'm going to make finally a capital for these guys. Let's look at the province map. Seeing this, I will make the province this one. This will be the capital. And though it would be logical to put it right here, I'm gonna put it still right there. And I think that's oh, is this the right one? Oh, so this is the right one. I have been doing the wrong one. Well, happens what happens. Oh, this is the... Oh, yeah, this is the right one. I just forgot. Well, seems like we're going to continue with this guy. We're going to see that... yeah. We're going to see this whole nation being annexed, if I can make it be annexed. Yep. This, well, Baltic country, Livonia, will be annexed into the Baltics Federation, as you can now say about it. And for our good old friends over here, we'll see that the Polish will have a rebellion in these areas. Germany forms. Yeah, Germany kind of forms. This kind of happens because Germany, the people of the Germans, who are kind of Polish, also see themselves as German, and they kind of adopted a new dialect, but are being forced to learn a different language that they don't want to learn. So most of them are going to revolt, and the revolt will quickly escalate into a full-out rebellion against the oppressors. And as you can see, this rebellion is quite expansive, reaching these areas. This will immediately be quite bad for whoever is in charge of this country, because, well, yeah, another rebellion. This is the southern Germans, the Bavarians, as you can see, but I think Bavaria is more like over here, but just deal with it, just Krakowians, yeah, these are the Krakowians. They smoke crack. Yeah, that's my excuse. We'll also see that Russia will influence this area to break away, and it's almost indistinguishable because it immediately goes into this nation. Yeah, Russia kind of just annexes the land, and we see that finally, after a big power loss, our good old friends, the Baltics, will invade. Immediately after the fall of Poland, like, to the rebels, because the rebels kind of didn't really fight a lot of battles, they just fought decisive ones, and the decisive battles were won by them, and they kind of destroyed the Polish army, and this caused the Polish to kind of flop over, and then we saw the Baltics invade, and they took the capital. Hooray! So, which lands go over to whom? Okay, we see these two being retained. Oh my god. The Baltic brother is going to take a bit of land. We see this one thing being allowed to exist. The Germans over here are going to be promised that if they really want to change the nation, they could stay in the nation and help develop it. Psych, they're going to be killed in the future, but I'm not gonna spoil anymore. And for the Krakowians, they are just downgraded to like a lot of land and 2 cities. So this is what Poland retains after its peace talks. This is what these guys gain. And over here we also see that yeah, good old friends kind of lose this land. I always say good old friends because it's kind of like normal for me to say that. So if you guys don't like it, you can click off the video now. Please do. I would like to see you try. We also, I think I'm going to make another thing happen, and that's Poland will kind of. Well, I'm not gonna make the Polish do anything, but I am going to make someone do anything, and that will be a new tribe. Yes, new tribes everywhere. Tribes shall be everywhere. The first thing we'll see is that you know what areas are going to be explored. Coastal areas, and these coastal areas are going to be explored for one specific reason, and that's for more territory to be well, you know, explored and taken and submarily owned. Definitely not just because they want more land. Definitely not. Or need more land. They kind of need the world's population is growing. The tribal peoples are actually the most, well, the least populated people. Like, except for like this nation, you don't really see anyone else doing something. Like building. Like for the tribals, we don't see the rest of the tribals make anything. And that's for a very weird reason, but the new tribals will be the tribe of the Babu, yeah, Babu, because bamboo and stuff doesn't well hasn't yet been found. People just don't call bamboo yet, so this tribal conglomerate kinda calls itself the tribe of the Bamur. Sounds like bamboo, but well, not. It doesn't sound like bamboo, but yeah, Bamur, Bambur. Yeah, Bambur. It sounds like bamboo now. So we're going to see this be a very Chilean type of well, tribe, as they're going to do a lot of stuff. Also, the jungle and the bad kitties and stuff that are over here, and apes and stuff. We see these areas kind of not be explored for quite a while, except for a few dents that pop up there and here and there. And definitely not tribals trying to get out of the continent or anything. Definitely not. Definitely not them trying to get out at anything else that's a lot towards the east of them. Definitely not. But we also see that the tribals will expand. 3 of the tribal nations, and the new one will also expand. And we also see that the green guy over here kinda, yeah, it just only takes a bit of land and then stops over here. Takes a bit of land over here, and then it squares out its borders. So now we have this being the tribal coasts, as they are now called. People from Europe are starting to get a general sense of what it's like to colonize things. So we're going to see a new nation pop up, and that's the new nation of, well, Blue China. Yeah, Blue China. It's around this time that I'd say that the first part of the colonization era will begin. Just because, well, I said so and I want so. But yeah, we see that these areas around the north will be explored finally. And a lot, and I mean a ton of the south will be explored, culminating in a lot of land being discovered and a lot of new forests and stuff being found, which gives a distinct culture of wooded of very wooded lands to the people who live in these lands. Speaking of living in these lands, we see that the the Chinese will make the first attempt at taking land, as they will kind of just explore the seas around here. Some of them will kind of veer off course at some point. Definitely not making a bulge for that. Definitely not. Due to the storms in these areas, it's kind of considered that it's hard to go over here. And we see that our good old friends will finally reach also northern China, and the areas around Beijing won't be found yet. But a large contingent of colonization people will, as we of course, as the second ship arrives, the third doesn't, and then the fourth arrives. And they're like, what happened to the third? And the fourth ship is like, we don't know. We don't actually know. We just came here. What do you know? What happened? And it's eventually decided that the people of the ship that was lost are dead. So they hold funerals, a lot of them. But hey, they're actually not dead. They actually still live, and they create their own little for Korean exclave thingy, and they begin exploring the surroundings. And they're like, hey, there's a coast around here. And when we went south for a while, this is what was left to explore. And then ships were being built from the wood in this area, and those ships were used to explore these areas. And due to these areas being mostly explored, they decided to start going over here, and new people started to arrive from Korea over here and back over here, and they brought back stuff, and they were like, yo, there was a huge monument for us, who for our grandfathers and stuff, who died, presumably died. And people like, they didn't die, they just veered off course. And the Koreans know this, but the Chinese don't. So when they see the newcomers, they're like delighted that they think that some of their people, from like at some point, maybe before they even this got colonized, went over here and did the colonization. But it's not gonna prevail in anything, as the Koreans stop expanding and they will consolidate their nation. We also see that the Chinese will make an attempt at taking more land, which is successful, and we also see them kinda managing to land in the north of these areas. And we also see the rest being taken. Definitely not out of greed. Definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, I'm just playing, you guys. This was out of greed, and as you can see, Chinese have the north, and the South Chinese have the south, and the central parts of Taiwan. So, yeah. But we also see that the Chinese nation over here will begin massively expanding its its like owned areas, and eventually arrives around. Well, not fully around its little exclave over here, but the exclave does expand towards them and eventually connects up with them. And the colony is officially stated as a provincial province, and then the north is taken over here as another thing. They think they're going to like find land over here and connect up, but seeing how there's like they don't know that this exists, they're like very skeptical. Until some Koreans say, oh, we have explored the entire coastline. It looks like this, to our knowledge. And then the Chinese are like, okay, but what's over here? And they go over here, start exploring a lot, and then eventually like, oi, oi. There's nothing around here. Only land. And coast. I love coast. But still, More land! Yippee! And they eventually discover a lot of the Beijing areas. And for Beijing itself, it won't be made in the capital because they don't want there be there being like inspiration from real life. But I think that it's time to not end the video, but because well, I still want to make this video a bit longer. But I'm going to show you guys something else, and that is how the Chinese start to become kind of strong in Asia. With Kazakhstan being the default Western Asian power, for the coastal empires, we see that Vietnam and Bangkok are the main ones, but China is quickly beginning to outperform them in like whatever they are outperforming them in. It's kind of a race for something. And eventually the race kinda results in a lot of land being discovered, a lot of things. And quickly just saying this, guys, they are all like, for me it's like 9th grade already, so I'm gonna have, as an Estonian, I'm gonna have exams soon. And exam season, I already I'm building on what I know. So yeah. It's kind of good. Also, we see the South Koreans discovering this island and then discover this island, and then they discover Jeju and more islands, and they're like, hey, what if we go this way? Will we discover Europe? And this will eventually cause the Europeans to decide to go over here. But that won't really be done yet. So yeah. But we see that the Koreans will take Jeju, and eventually they will arrive over here in Nagasaki and stuff. And people start to explore the surrounding islands, and they discover that Japan is quite island-filled. Yeah, Japan itself is an island, so yeah, they kind of know about that. So yeah. But we do see them kinda beginning to understand that, hey, we are basically not exploring anything of Europe. The maps don't align. And how they know about Europe and Europe doesn't know about them yet is because, well, India is kind of blocking these guys from knowing about this area, but they aren't blocking anyone from knowing from here about this area. And everyone knows about Russia and the Mediterranean, as they are more like known, but Morocco and the alliances, the alliance over here and the Dutch team are kinda in the red zone. Also, nobody knows from Asia knows about Africa. They do know about Ethiopia. They're like, okay, this must be an island. Same with this guy. This is not an island. They just know that, and they know about Egypt, but they don't think there's like anything between them. Spoiler alert: there is like 3 nations, but yeah, they don't know about that. And the first expeditions ran great results, as we see most of the islands of Japan and the main island of Japan being discovered quite fast, like very fast. And this causes a lot of people to be surprised about how fast the discovery was made. That these areas are quite good for whatever reason. And we see that the Koreans will make their first base of operations over here, and they were kind of just stop. Yeah, they just take this and then stop. And then we see this weird Piscator nation come into existence, and they will be the first fully Japanese nation to exist. They're immediately going to go and establish Tokyo as their main area, and eventually they're gonna stop around these borders. That's because 2 new nations have popped up. The first one being just this one, and the second one being this more darker one. And why are they dark? Well, because they aren't black, but they are quite, they are just normal. Not racist, by the way. I like people of color. They are cool. They are well cultured, and most of them are actually quite well mannered. Most of them. Sometimes I hear things about them, but I'm not gonna really do anything about that. But yeah, we see that we have the new Japanese Shogunate and the old Japanese Shogunate. Yeah, I'm saying Shogunate. It's like yogurt, not gogurt. Miks ma gogurt ütlen teda? Kurat, nahui. We also see that China, you are now the default power of the North. Also, the Chinese have made a large go out here. But when they reach the more harder areas, they kind of stop, because, well, yeah. But the Mongolian steppes just allow them to do exactly what they just wanted, and they kind of just meet up with the Kazakhs, who are surprised that there is anything over here. At this point, they didn't know about the Chinese, and the Chinese knew about them, and the Chinese are like, hey, how's it going? And the Kazakhs like, who the hell are you? And it eventually devolves into just people know each other and speaking each other's languages, and it's eventually found out that both of these are kind of related in a way. But we see that the Chinese take a lot of this area because well, guy in the south took this area. Another guy in the south kinda went on a land rampage over here, took a bit more area and just stopped. Same with this guy, who again did another land rampage. And also we see India making their first ever colony, and this is Malaysia. And how do I make this? They kind of just make these two like default thing. And they kind of had their own thing over here as well, but this kind of just declared its independence, so they had no reason to keep it. So when you have no reason to keep, just make more. And they kind of just did what they did, and they kind of took a lot of this island, and they set out to colonize all of this. Why? Well, first of all, they are kind of colonizers. And second of all, that's because they want to. And just like in Addis Pro, they're going to go over here and do some stuff. But unlike Addis Pro, I'm just going to delete them off the map because they kind of just forgot it was basically lions, tigers, elephants, everything. They have elephants. They know about them. They have lions, some of them. They know about them, but they don't know about the African lions, and they're getting their asses handed to them. For Korea, we also see that Korea will expand their ownership of lands, and they're kind of just making a border with our good friends. And as you can see, Korea has, I don't know if this area over here, it was once Korean, but well, yeah. We're going to Korea, buying some land from China, and China in turn will make a deal with these guys that for 1,000 years they'll be allies, and then they won't be allies. Not like a breakup or something. That would be a very bad thing. They just kind of just make a deal about this, and the Chinese just cut them off over here, and they're okay with this. And yeah, I think I'm gonna stop this around here. We have seen a lot of Asian expansion, and I'm gonna see you guys next